So just to kind of recap what we've been talking about, the thing that we discussed in lesson 1 was rule 180, okay? Just rule 180. And rule 180, okay, I'll write down the formula here just to kind of refresh our memory. Rule 180 says you have angle, I'll just put angle A plus angle B plus angle C is equals to 180 degrees. That's why it's called rule 180, is because if we measure all the angles, and add them up together, it all equals to, together it equals to 180. As you can see, these are all angles in this equation, right? The next thing that we talked about is Pythagorean theorem. And Pythagorean theorem, we said a squared plus b squared equals to c squared. So all of these, a, b, and c, are sides. So Pythagorean theorem uses the sides only, right? Rule 180 uses angles only. Now, the trig ratio is going to be using the combination of angles and sides to figure out angles and sides. Okay? So, trig ratio uses angles and sides in our formula. Okay? So these are the formula. I'll write it down in here, but it's also on our booklet. So we're using the sine angle A equals to opposite over adjacent. Oh, sorry, opposite over hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. Okay. I'm abbreviating that. Opposite divided by hypotenuse. Cosine of angle A is adjacent over hypotenuse. And then the last is the tangent. Tan angle A is equals to opposite over adjacent. This is probably going to be a little bit of your formula sheet if you keep this piece. This is something that you can put on your formula sheet. So I'll give you a moment to write that down, and then because at this particular point we don't know what these are. It's just I'm giving you some stuff in here. Maybe some of you already know this. Maybe, right? You've seen it before. Maybe some of you've never seen it before. So let's just read this part here. Would that be okay? Or is that too fast? You miss? Okay, yeah, you okay? Oh, you're not done. Yep, you're good.
OPP means the opposite?
Ontario Provincial Police.
Yeah, opposite. Okay, it's okay. We're gonna see that again. So we can use a Pythagorean theorem when we know the length of two sides of a right triangle, and if we know the length of the two sides, we can use a different formulas. It's called trigonometric ratios. Now, if we don't know the length of two sides, we can use trigonometric ratios. Okay, so we can use Pythagorean theorem if we know two sides. Now, if we don't know the two sides, we can use the trig ratios. Okay. Now, before we can understand this new formula, we have to learn how to label. We have to label the sides. Okay. So, in a right triangle shown below, how do we know if it's a right? If the triangle is a right triangle? How do we know if a triangle is a right triangle?
Because the 90-degree.
Yeah, there's a 90-degree right there. That makes it a 90-degree angle there, right triangle. Okay, so in a right triangle shown below, the hypotenuse has been labeled and theta symbol has been placed at one of the angles. So if this is the 90-degree angle, we said last time, right across from the 90-degree angle, okay, if this is the 90-degree angle, right across from that, that's called the hypotenuse. Okay, now a theta symbol has been placed at the other angles. So the theta angle is placed in here. So it says here, from this angle, okay, if this is the angle, the theta, right across from that is called the opposite. Okay, the opposite. And then this side over here is called adjacent. So think of this as your eye, right? If you look right across from somebody or something, that's right across from you. Okay? So if I position myself, okay, I'm gonna go here. If this is where I'm gonna place myself, okay? I'm across Isabel. She's right opposite to me, right? That's what opposite means, right across. Now, if I sit over here, am I opposite to her anymore? Am I right across?
Beside.
I'm going to be beside her, beside. And then the word beside has another word that we can use. It's called adjacent. Adjacent. So the word adjacent means beside. Okay. So if this is you, or this is you, right beside, this is your adjacent side. And if this is you, this is the opposite side. Okay? And then this one will always be the hypotenuse because it's right across the 90-degree angle. So let's take a look at this one. Okay, we have to locate the angle where you're looking from. Okay, so this is the angle theta, right across is opposite, and then this is the adjacent, right beside, adjacent, and the hypotenuse will always be where the 90 degree is, right across the 90 degrees. looking at this one. Looking at this one. This is my 90-degree angle right across from that. That's the hypotenuse. And then this is my angle. This is where I am. What I can see opposite to that, that's the opposite side. Opposite side. And then this is the adjacent side. Beside, that means beside the theta. Right beside the theta. Okay. Now that part is important in doing this, okay? And identifying, is it the opposite, is it the hypotenuse, is it the adjacent? Okay, so we're gonna practice that in the next page. Okay.
What does adjacent mean?
Adjacent means beside.
No, who is adjacent me?
Who is adjacent to you? A man. Okay.
They are.
That guy.
That guy. Okay, let's take a look at this one.
John and his wife adjacent each other.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's label these. Let's label a triangle hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent. What we're gonna do, is it okay if we just go H for hypotenuse? Okay, and opposite, which is O, and then adjacent would be A. So we don't have to write down the whole word. H for hypotenuse, O for opposite, and then A for adjacent. Okay, so I'm gonna point something and then tell me which one it is, okay? I'm gonna point at this one here. This is called this side. This side is the H, hypotenuse, so H, hypotenuse. Okay, what do you call this side?
90 degrees.
No, side.
Ah, adjacent.
Adjacent. Adjacent. Why is it called adjacent?
Is opposite each other.
No, it's beside
Beside each other.
the angle, the theta, right beside the angle, right? And what do you call this side? This is the opposite. Okay? Yeah, we have a few examples in here. We want to make sure we are good with this one. Okay? Opposite, because it's right across. Across. Across from somewhere. Where are you looking from? From this angle. This is adjacent, beside. Right beside this angle. Which one's right beside? It's this one. Take a look at this triangle. What do you call this side here? Opposite, yeah. This is the theta, so that's the opposite. What do you call this side? There's the H, hypotenuse, yes. And what do you call this side? Adjacent, yeah, very good. Very good, because it's right beside the theta. Okay. So, do you notice that opposite and adjacent make the 90-degree angle? You notice that? The opposite and adjacent make the 90-degree angle, the L shape. Okay. Let's take a look at this one. What do you call this side? A. Very good. A. I like that. You're sounding so confident and say A. And what do you call this side?
Oh,
H. Right, H. Because it's right across a 90-degree angle. Okay, what do you call this side? opposite, O. Okay. Let's try one more. A few more. So here's your angle. What do you call this side? Yeah, hypotenuse, H, right? What do you call this side? O, opposite. What do you call this side? A. Yeah. Next one. Here's your angle. Here's your 90 degrees. What do you call this side? Hypotenuse. Okay. Is everybody good? Yeah? What do you call this side? Oh, opposite. This side is adjacent. Okay. Here's your angle. Here's your 90 degrees. What do you call this side? A, yeah, A, because it's adjacent, right beside. What do you call this side? Oh, opposite. And what do you call this side? This one is the hypotenuse. Somebody said something before. I can't remember who. They said that here, when they look at this part in here, can you see that it kind of? I can't remember who said that last week. The pointy thing. The pointy thing. Who said that?
I'm the one.
Huh?
I'm the one.
Oh, you're the one. The pointy thing, right? On the right triangle there, that's the hypotenuse. Okay, next one. So we're on page 11. 11. Oh, okay. We have another one. Okay. Thank you. Is there another one there?
Yes.
Okay. What do you call this side? Adjacent. Thank you. What do you call this side? Hypotenuse. And what do you call this side? Opposite. Okay. So it's where the location of the theta is, where you're looking from. Last but not the least. Last but not the least. What do you call this side? Hypotenuse, H. And what do you call this side? Opposite, O, yeah. And this one here is adjacent. Okay. Well, now that we've kind of figured out adjacent, hypotenuse, opposite, now we're ready to go. Okay. Yeah.
So the theta, say the theta looks like O. I know that I've crossed it with my O.
Ah, oh, this one.
It looks like O, right?
Uh-huh.
Like O shape. I know that I've crossed it with my O.
Oh, okay, that's, yeah. That's another way of thinking. Yeah, okay. Theta. That's it. Okay, so these are the trig ratios. Let's take out our calculator. Let's figure something out first. Oh man, does everybody have a calculator? Yeah. Okay. First things first. We have to make sure our calculator is in the right mode. Okay, it has to be in the right mode. Okay, your calculator should have on the screen up here a letter D, or DEG. So your calculator has to have a letter D or DEG on your screen. Okay, so If it's not, we have to make sure that it is. Okay? So mine, in this case, says rad, R-A-D. Rad. So it's radian mode. So I gotta change mine. Different calculators have different ways of doing that. Mine is here. D-R-G. I wanna make sure, if you have the same calculator as me, you're gonna keep pressing the D, okay, RG. So now it's changed to gradient, okay? If I press again, now it's DEG, DEG. So we're just gonna do a quick check in here, make sure everybody is in degree mode, degree. Because if it's not, then we're gonna get a different number. Okay, everybody has a D or DEG. Okay, now can you locate the key that says sine? Sine. I know it says SIN, right? Sine. So you have a sine right there. Okay, that's a function. Sine function. Okay, sine function. Okay, so clear that. Can you see cos on your calculator? Cos, right there, right? Can you see tangent? Tan. Then you see tan. Usually those three buttons, those three trigonometric buttons are right beside each other, close to each other. Okay? So, here's what we're gonna do. We have two examples in here. Now, before we jump into example, let's try something, okay? Okay, try this with me. Christian, I think your calculator might be a little bit backwards, right? Right, okay. So let's just try this, okay? This activity, okay? I'm not on the booklet yet. Let's just try an activity. On your calculator, can you type in sine 60? Sine 60. Let's figure that out.
Sine 60
Equals
0.78.
sine 60.
Yeah.
Did you get 0.866? Yeah? Oh, yeah, I think yours, you have to, Isabel also, you go 60 and then sine.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, you figured that out.
Right, that is
Okay, good.
87.
And did you figure that out too? You go backwards, okay? Yeah. I just want to make sure that everybody's okay. Are you okay? Yeah. Okay. Let's try one more time, okay? Let's go cos of 45. Cos 45. Did you get 0.707? Yeah? Okay. 0.707. Good, good. Is that okay? Let's do one more, okay? Let's go tangent of 73. I'm just making it up, really. Tangent of 73. Did you get 3.27? Yeah? 3.27. So what we're seeing here is that when we press sine of 60, sine something, cos something, tan of the another angle, an angle, those ones are just numbers. Okay, it will produce a number. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look at example 1. Example 1, we're going to use the trig ratio to figure this out. Okay. If you look at this part in here, we can't use Pythagorean theorem to solve for that one, right? We cannot use Pythagorean theorem because we need two sides to figure out the third side. So in this case, we have to use the trig ratio. Trig ratio. This is your theta. This is your theta. Okay. Now let's see if we remember what we talked about earlier, labeling. So if this is your theta, and then this is your 90-degree angle, what do you call this side? Hypotenuse. So this is H, hypotenuse. Okay, very good. Now, what do you call this side? Opposite. Okay. So, what we're going to do, those are the only two things that we need. From there, we have hypotenuse and opposite and theta in the angle, in the equation. So, sine theta equals to opposite over hypotenuse cos theta adjacent over hypotenuse. Excuse me. Tan theta equals to opposite over adjacent. Okay, here we go. Which one are we going to use? Okay, this is sometimes usually like what the students are asking, like which formula do I use? Okay, look at this one here. It depends on what's given. Which one of them has theta, hypotenuse, and opposite in the same equation? Is it the sine, cosine, or tangent? Which one has opposite and hypotenuse are in the same equation? Sine. It's in the sine. So it's in this one. So we're going to pick this one. Not this one. Not this one. Okay, so sine theta equals to opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, because we have O and then the H. Opposite and the hypotenuse. Is that okay? So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to label first, step 1, label the sides. And then number 2, choose the correct trig ratio. And then step 3 would be to solve. Okay, to solve. So we're on the step 3 now. So sine theta equals to opposite over hypotenuse. So sine theta, theta. So we got the formula down. The next thing that we're going to do is to substitute the values in. So theta there is the 72 degrees equals opposite is the x, hypotenuse is 19. Okay, is that good? Is that okay? So we've replaced or substituted those values in here. Now we're trying to solve for x. How do we solve for x? What's happening to the x is this. X divided by 19. Do you remember we talked about cross multiplying before? Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross multiply. We're going to cross multiply to solve for x. Okay, so when we cross multiply, we're going to get 19 times, I'm going to use brackets, sine 72 equals 1 times x would give you just x. Okay, now that it's set up like that, we could figure out, okay, well, what is this equal to? What's 19 times the sine of 72? 19 times the sine of 72. So why don't you give that one a try, and we're comparing our answers. I got 18.07, 18.07, and then the unit there is meters. Okay, 18.07 meters. Everybody got that same number? Okay, we're gonna try example 2, okay? Try example 2. In this
Interruption. Teachers will be making the same announcement throughout the day in this block 2. All students are being offered free tickets to the Management News Games this Wednesday at 7 p.m. And that's courtesy of Good Life Fitness. To claim your free ticket, no strings attached, go to the library and you can come and see me. You have until noon tomorrow to do that. If you'd like to purchase an extra ticket for any friends or family, those are available at a reduced cost of $10 each. Thank you.
Okay. So when you look at this triangle, this one has, in the same triangle, you have angles and sides involved, right? Angles and sides involved. Okay, this is 55 degrees, that's the theta, so I'm gonna put the theta there. And this is the 90-degree angle. Okay, now we're gonna take a look now that we've labeled theta, the theta and the 90 degrees, we're gonna figure out which ones these are, okay? Now let's see. What do you call this side? The x. The h, the hypotenuse, right? What do you call this side? Is the a, adjacent, okay? Now, which trig ratio are we gonna use? Sine theta, opposite over hypotenuse. I'm just gonna put O over h. Cos theta, adjacent over h. And then tan theta, opposite over a, adjacent.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
the last one, what kind of sign is equals afterwards? Just, what sign Just 72, or is it,
Yep, 72
no, equals 72?
It was X.
equals x. Oh, this one.
Yeah,
X.
equals X.
Okay, so is that okay if we talk about this one? So we've labeled everything in here. Theta, 90 degrees. This is the hypotenuse, this is adjacent. Which of these three things we're going to use? Are we going to use a sine? Are we using cosine? Or are we using a tangent? Okay, which one has A and H in it? Adjacent and hypotenuse. Cos, right? So it has an A and H. We're going to use this one. Okay, not this one, not this one. Has to be A and H, A and H. This one is no, this one is no. So we're going to use this formula. Cos theta equals to A adjacent over hypotenuse. Now that we figured that out, we're going to substitute. Okay, so cos theta. Okay, what theta am I talking about? Theta is 55 equals adjacent. Adjacent is 27 over x. Over x is a hypotenuse. Okay. If this is in the denominator, it's 1 if there's nothing there. We're going to cross multiply. Cross multiply. So x times cos of 55 equals to 27. Is everybody okay with that one? So x times cos 55 equals, we put an equal sign, 1 crosses to multiply with 27. And we get to this part. I'm going to put the brackets there. Okay, well the x is not isolated. The x is not by itself yet. Okay, what are we going to do next so that we can solve for x? What we're going to do to solve for x? Yeah, we're going to divide. Yeah, we're going to divide by cos 55. Cos 55, and then that cancels. We're left with x. The x is now alone. And then 27 divided by cos 55. So that's 47.07, and then the unit is inches. So they're saying that this length here is going to be 47.07 inches. Repeat it again? Okay. So after we've labeled the theta, 90 degrees, and then the two sides, so that's okay, right? And then we're gonna pick the cosine because it has the adjacent and hypotenuse. You're okay with that one? Okay. The next thing is we substituted. We put the values into the equation. So theta is 55 equals adjacent is 27. Adjacent is 27, so we're going to put 27 there. Divided by hypotenuse is there, is x. And then we're going to cross multiply. Cross multiply means this x will be multiplied with cos 55. And then the 1 will be multiplied with 27. So this is where we're at. So x multiplies by cos 55, that's that one. And then 1 times 27 will give you that one. And we have to solve for x. What's happening to x is being multiplied by cos 55. Okay? Cos 55 is just a number. Cos of 55 is just a number, 0.57. So what they're saying is that x times whatever this number is equal to 27. So because it's being multiplied by that number, we do the opposite of multiplying, which is dividing. Okay? So dividing by cos 55, what you do on one side, you gotta do it on the other, and then you get to that part. And I know your calculator is backwards, so you would have to go. This is how you would type it in. 27 divided by 55 cos, and then make sure you press equals. Yeah, make sure you press equals. Okay, is that good? Okay, so we're gonna stop right there. There's gonna be some practice questions for you to do. Please try them at home. Do the practice questions, and then tomorrow we're gonna get started with solving the unknown angles. Okay, solving for the unknown angles. That's for tomorrow. But please try the practice ones.